Hello and welcome. This is History from 3. We continue with this topic, missionary factors in Malawi. So in this topic, or in this period, we are going to look now at the Scottish missions in Malawi. So this is a very good part whereby mainly we are going to center on the Livingstonian mission, how they came in and where they settled, how they moved from one place to another, and the reasons behind their movements and the impact. So it is a very good part that we are going to look at. So let us be together because it is a very wonderful part. It will be a very wonderful period to be together. So let's move on together in this part. And now let's look at the Scottish missions, the Scottish missionaries or the Scottish missions. So failure of the UMCA and the death of Dr. David Livingstone, it provoked a second attempt by the missionaries to come again and see how far they can do or proceed with the work. Because we have said that the UMCA, after it came at Magomero, then immediately with the problems, then they withdrew. They went to Zanzibar. So with that, then some missionaries, they were not happy to see. Now it means that there is nothing in the mainland, so they wanted still to come and try other ways what they can do. So the death of David Livingstone in 1873, it attracted the sympathy for his hard work in Central Africa. So the Free Church of Scotland sent the Livingstonian mission in honor of David Livingstone. So the work of David Livingstone, you can even agree to say he spent almost his life, or the whole of his life, moving in the dense Africa. By that time, it means that there were no real boundaries there. The real things that were there, they were just the thickets, animals, and many other things that were there, dangerous things, snakes and the like. So he dedicated all his life to finding the roots, to finding or to establishing those things. As a result, his work was to be honored as well. So this led to the coming of the Livingstonia and the Blantyre mission. So the Livingstonia and the Blantyre mission, they came as a result to honor David Livingstone. So let's look at the origins. What are the origins of the Livingstonia mission? The origins of the Livingstonia mission. So the Free Church of Scotland, came to Malawi as the Livingstonia mission, So it was named in memory of David Livingstone. So it was led by Captain Edward Young and Robert Rose as second in command. So the leader was the Captain Edward Young and seconded by Robert Rose. And also there was the James Stewart who was also included there as a leader. So Robert Rose was an evangelist, a medical doctor, and he also had a number of abilities ranging from manual labor and diplomatic power. So Robert Rose, he was so skillful. He was a multi-talented gentleman. So let's look at the Cape Macleay, how the Livingstonia mission settled at Cape Macleay in 1875. So the missionaries left Scotland for Africa in 1875 and arrived in the same year. So they followed the Shire River, passing through the Lake Malombe to the south end of Lake Malawi. And finally, they met Chief Mponda, who welcomed them. So they were welcomed by Chief Mponda, and they settled in his area. That's why we have mentioned of the southern end of the Lake Malawi. So the party, or that is the mission itself, it set up a station at Cape Macleay in 1876. 1875. So when Mponda welcomed them, then they set up their mission station at Cape Maclear. So Cape Maclear is a hilly area at the south end of Lake Malawi. So it was named after astronomer Sir Thomas Maclear. So the name Cape Maclear comes after Sir Thomas Maclear, who was an astronomer, a friend of the missionaries. So he was a friend of these missionaries. So he was the place was named after him, Thomas Maclear. So they opened a school in 1876, and one of their students, or the first convent who became also the leader or the first teacher, was Albert Namalambe. So the first teacher, the African teacher by the Livingstonian mission, was Albert Namalambe. So why did they choose Cape Maclear? Why did they choose Cape Maclear? So Cape Maclear was chosen because the site itself had a good harbor for their steamboat and the Ilala itself. And again, the site appeared a healthy place. So the place itself, it appeared to be good and healthy, free from maybe malaria attacks. They looked at it like that, and the good place for the harbor. However, they faced some problems there at Cape Maclear. So we have to note that the mission did not accomplish much at Cape Maclear there. So they faced a lot of problems there. So number one was that the site was away from the population. So Cape Maclear, it was like far away, an isolated place where the people were on the other side. As a result, it was difficult to move to reach the people. And also the soils were unfertile, as such not good for agriculture. And also slave trade activities, it also disrupted their work. And not only that, the Yao, they also they boycotted the mission work because it was preaching against slave trade, which was the major activity of the Yao. And again, missionaries also, they found it difficult to convert the Yao who had been earlier converted into Islamic faith. As a result, it was difficult for the Yao to be converted to Christianity. And Edward Young, the leader himself, he lacked leadership skills in the missionary work, while Stuart viewed himself as too old to go through some missionary challenges. So you can see that is the problem of leadership as well. And also there was a problem of malaria in the area. While we have pointed out that at first they saw to it that maybe the area was good or from malaria, but it was not like that. They were attacked by malaria in that area. And again, the other problem was that the area had a huge population of monkeys, termites, and crocodiles. Therefore, their things were destroyed. Their properties and the like, they were destroyed by monkeys, termites, as well as crocodiles. So these problems, therefore, they prompted the mission to relocate or to move out. Hence, this time, they moved to Bandawe, that is in the northern region. So they moved from there to Bandawe in the northern region. So let's look at the Bandawe mission of this Livingstonia mission. That is Bandawe in Kadabe in 1881. So in 1881, Dr. Laws moved the mission northwards to Bandawe. So we talk about Laws here because by this time, Captain Edward Young, he died at Cape Maclear. So the Tonga chief, that is Malenga Mzoma, he easily accepted the missionaries because he wanted to be protected. He wanted the Tonga to be protected from the Ngoni attacks. And also this Bandawe area, it was a good site because it had no influence of Islam or slave trade. So Bandawe, it proved to be a good place because it was free from Islam as well as the slave trade. So uh, at Bandawe itself, many Tongas, therefore, they were converted into Christianity. But what were the reasons that prompted many Tongas to be converted to Christianity? Number one was that they viewed the missionaries as allies against the Ngoni raiders. So they found their friends. They took the missionaries as their friends who were preaching good news, unlike the Ngoni who were just coming to grab their food. And also, the Tonga, they also wanted to acquire skills provided by the mission, such as Western education, which were necessary for employment in cash economy in the developing countries. And also, there many also could be employed as clerks, interpreters for men in plantations in the Shire Highlands and in mining industries in Rhodesia. So people wanted to acquire, or the Tonga wanted to acquire education so that they get the white collar jobs when they go out of their place, like they go to Blantyre, like the Shire Highlands, where there were the industries there, and again the mining when they go to Rhodesia, like it's northern Rhodesia as well as southern Rhodesia. So they wanted to gain employment after getting that education. But at Bandawe, there were also some problems. Number one, malarial climate, which resulted into the death of some missionaries. So also some missionaries died at Bandawe there. And also the constant Ngoni raids or attack on the Tonga, it disrupted again the work there in Katabe or at Bandawe. So let's look at the Ngoni or Njuyu mission of 1882. So one of the major achievements of the Livingstonian missionaries in the northern region of Malawi was the gradual pacification of the Ngoni of Mberwa and the introduction of Christianity among these warlike people. So one great achievement that we shall remember, or we shall live to remember the Livingstonian mission, is that they managed to pacify the Ngoni. As we have said, that the Ngoni, they were raiding other people for food and the livestock. As such, the Livingstonian mission or missionaries, they managed to pacify them. They managed to bring peace to the Ngoni so that they stop raiding others. So that's why we are talking of the Njuyu mission, which was extended to the Ngoni area. So what were the reasons why Mberwa Ngoni resisted Christianity? Number one, they did not want to lose their power, that is the kingship, to the whites. So they did not want to be ruled by others, especially the whites. So they hated even Christianity. And number two, Christianity was against some Ngoni cultural practices, such as polygamy or beer drinking. So beer drinking, polygamy were the order, or the order of the Ngoni. So the real Ngoni must drink beer. The real Ngoni can marry as many wives as possible. So they did not want Christianity, which was preaching against them. And also, they did not want to stop their raids, as they highly depended on them to snatch food items and expand their territory. So the Ngoni did not want to stop raiding other people, because their livelihood depended much on the same. They were raiding the Tonga for food, for livestock. They were raiding the Chewa, the Tumbuka, like that. So they were also expanding their territories in such a way. So Dr. Laws used William Tusanekoi, uh, uh, who, uh, who was trained at Lovedale Training College there. He came from South Africa. So he was an evangelist, a Lovedale trained Zulu evangelist, to persuade Mberwa to convert to Christianity at Hoho in 1882. So this was because the Zulu language, because of the Zulu language connection, and also the Ngoni, that is the Ngoni language, whose original home is the Nguni speaking region of South Africa. So we are saying of uh, Dr. Laws, he managed to bring some people from South Africa in order to enter the Ngoniland so that they should speak fluently the same language with the Mbero. So that's why he did that. So he used uh, William Tusane Koi. So he was assisted by Shadrach Ngunana, Mapasa Ntintili, and Isaac Waushope. So these were the three other guys who assisted William Koi. So the white man who played an important role in the Ngoni mission was Dr. Emsley and James Sutherland. So James Sutherland and Dr. Emsley, they were the ones who also led that delegation of William Tusane Koi and others to meet again the Ngoni. So between 1882 and 1893, the missionaries attempted to penetrate the Ngoni society with the Christian messages. But the progress itself was very low because the Ngoni themselves, they were deeply rooted into their culture of beer drinking or polygamy. So it was hard for them to leave those things. So the first mission station was opened at Njoyu in 1882. That's why we have mentioned of Njoyu mission of 1882. That one, it branched from Bandawe. So from Bandawe, they sent some delegates to Mzimba to start the Ngoni mission. So it took 8 years to baptize 2 converts. So these ones were Mawerera Tembo and his brother Chitezi Tembo. So these 2 were the first from the Ngoni land to be baptized as Christians. So these brothers, they were not the Ngoni as such, but they were the Nsenga tribe. Just as we looked at the Ngoni migration, we said they were getting other people along the way. They were assimilating them into their society. So this Mawerera Tembo, as well as his brother Chitezi Tembo, they were the Nsenga and not the pure Ngoni. And those ones, they were the ones who were baptized after 8 years of preaching in the Ngoni land. So on Mtwalo's request, other missions were opened at Ikwendeni in 1889, and Hora Mountain, it was also established there in 1893. So by 1892, there were 11 converts. By 1892, there were only 11 converts in the Ngoni land. So now the question is, what made these the Ngoni chiefs, to accept Christian missionaries in their midst or in their land when they were not interested in itself? To say, we are saying that Mtwalo allowed to say, all right, you have to open another mission at Ikwendeni, another at Hora, things like those. So why did they allow to open the mission stations when themselves they are not ready to accept Christianity? Number one was the balance of power began to shift as they were insurrected by their subjects. For example, Baza Dokowe, he revolted at Hora Mountain in 1880. So the Nguni or the Ngoni, they wanted to ally with the missionaries who would pacify the region. So the Ngoni themselves, they were experiencing some rebellion. So they wanted at least the missionaries to pacify the area. And number two, the Ngoni believed that the missionaries possessed supernatural powers, especially when William Angus Emsley prayed for the rains at Ikwendeni after a severe dry spell. So there it happened that there was a severe dry spell, and there was a time when William Angus Emsley, he prayed for the rains, and there was a miracle there. So they believed that the missionaries, they possess a certain power that could assist them. And again, The Ngoni also, they were persuaded by the Zulu teachers and the evangelists from Lovedale in South Africa, William Tusane Koi, Shadrach Ngunana, Mapasa, and all those four members. They were persuaded by them to say, oh, even Ngoni can talk of the Christian things. Therefore, it means that we can also embrace this religion ourselves. So after resistance, it took Dr. Laws to invite Mapasa Ntintiri and his friends to convince Mberwa to accept the missionary work in his area. So it was the work of those South African guys that managed to convince the Ngoni to accept Christianity in their area. So let's look at the Kondowe mission, in 1894. So Dr. Laws later he moved the mission from Bandawe to Kondowe in 1894. So why did he do that? Number one was that Bandawe was increasingly becoming unhealthy. So the malaria climate, it was just also there. It was proving to be high also there at Bandawe. And also Kondowe was a cool plateau, good for the European states. So at Kondowe there, the place was just good for European settlement. So there he opened the Overton Institute. So that one was the center of higher educational work, and it comprised a primary, middle, and normal girls technical college, and theological college, and also a school for the blind. So he opened a lot of things there where people were participating in education. And Kondowe was later renamed Livingstonia in honor of Dr. David Livingstone. So the place became the headquarters of the mission. So they were operating at Kondowe, which was now named Livingstonia in honor of Livingstone. So they were operating from there as the headquarters, going into different areas, the Ngoni area and many other areas. So Kondowe became an important center for the European civilization following the services that they offered. So there, just as we have mentioned here, that they opened a number of things or activities that we are doing. The people were going there to learn a lot of skills. So some of the skills that the activities that were done there, number one was the education. So people were taught the 3 R's, that is reading, writing, and arithmetic. So it was called 3 R's: reading, writing, arithmetic. So some of the early scholars became the bush school teachers. So those people who went there to learn, later on they were sent to open up bush schools in the remote areas in the villages. So apart from offering the 3 R's, that is reading, writing, arithmetic, the mission also offered technical skills such as carpentry, bricklaying, plumbing, agriculture skills, on land, and animal husbandry. And also they established the Overton Institute, which became an important center of education. So the Overton Institute became an important center of education. And also, apart from education, there was also medical work as an activity that was taking place there. So there then, they established the David Gordon Memorial Hospital, which offered treatment to the people. And also this institute also taught people sanitation skills and good health practices. So the Overton Institute, it was a hospital, and it was also like a school for people to learn some sanitation skills. Another activity was the homecraft. So women were empowered with skills on proper home care and management. So there was a special place for women to learn some of the skills. So they were learning how they can manage their homes. And also morals. So the institute there at Livingstone was instrumental in convincing the Ngoni of the evils of the raids. So it also condemned slave trade and encouraged Harry Johnson to crush Mlozi by force. So Mlozi, who was a slave trader in the northern region in Kalonga, he was also crushed by the colonial government, or Sir Harry Johnston, who was a British, representing the British government. So much of the work or recommendations came from the Livingstonia mission to say, no, in Kalonga there is a Swahili Arab trader who is disturbing the area. So it's better that we crush this person. So he encouraged Harry Johnson to do that. And it has also to be noted that the early products of Kondowe, that is Livingstonia, who later became active in Nyasaland, early Nyasaland politics, or the formation of the independent African churches, there were a lot, or a number of them. For example, Lev Zirilo Mumba. There was also Dr. Hastings Kamuzubanda, we know, the first president of Malawi. Mawerera Tembo, and Reverend Mlonye Nishiwambo, and Charles Chinua, and Elliot Kenan Kamwana. All those people, they were so prominent in the early politics of Malawi. Yeah, for now, let us stop there. We have looked at the Scottish missionaries, how they moved, from how they entered Malawi, where they first settled. Now we have a very good knowledge of the Scottish missions. But next time, as we continue, we are going to look at another mission, that is the Blantyre mission. So this one, again, it will be a very good encounter where we are going to look at the Blantyre mission and how they came to Malawi. And in this part, we are also going to look at the Dutch Reformed Church mission, apart from the Blantyre mission. So we are going to look at two other missions. So it will be a very good part again to look at. So let us be together in the next period as well. So until that time, thank you so much.
Simutaya nthawi yanu kufunafuna maphunziro muzakhala wotumidwa moyo wanu wonse. Ngati simuphunzira anthu azingokutumani ajala kalime ajala kuchwe manyazi ajala katende yanti ndipo anthu ophunzira wandu wotumanso kwambiri. Ndiye ngati simuphunzira skulu akuyikirani apa mukhala otumidwa.